So today I'm going to look at this thing. This is another Farmtek Polaris sports timer. I've done various videos on these in the past, but this one's a bit different. This one is a hell of a mess inside. Now I'll give you a clue here. I've got the gloves here. Now I normally reserve these for precision equipment. In this case I'm going to be wearing them to work on this thing because, well, you'll see why. Gloves are on. As you can see, it's looking a bit of a mess. That's just the plastic film on the LCD. That will actually just peel off. So although it looks really bad, it actually isn't that bad. It's quite an old unit. This is an old one, which is one of the originals. I think this is one of the first ones that came into the country, apparently. Yeah, it's had a bit of a bad day. Let's get a screwdriver. It's actually going to fit. Now I've already had this apart, which is how I know roughly what's going on with this. But I want to do a video about it because it's quite extensive. Now the corrosion on this screw might be a bit of a clue. And yes, I pulled it apart and it's like, oh, it's sticky. So, you know, it's had a drink spilt on it. You know, people have drinks when they're using these things. They have a drink next to it on the table, sort of thing. You know, so it's a reasonable thing to think could happen. Anyway, I sort of, as I dug deeper into it and realised, actually no, I don't think it is that. Now this is a bit stuck. It's actually sticking together, and this screw doesn't want to come out. It's got sort of plastic posts are actually split. This one doesn't want to come out. There you go. That's out. This is using this RF chip. Can't get these anymore. Haven't made in a long time. You can see it's got this watermark inside here, or liquid mark, so it's actually definitely got wet and it's got quite badly corroded just over there. And you can see these posts are not in good condition. These posts are all splitting. A bit of a shame. You know, old plastic, what have you. But let's get it apart further. And you have to get careful. It's got the antenna sticking out there and you've got these ports there. It's just going to be awkward. I know it's going to be awkward. Now I've already had this apart, like I said. I'd actually forced it back over those plastic posts to get the thing back together. There we go. Let's back off that one. I'll drop it down a bit, then lever in here, get those out, push the antenna through. But no, the plastic post is broke off. See all these posts are in quite a bad condition. Now, this is the interesting bit. Zoom a bit without touching things too much on my gloves. So there's the board. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess. Lots of corrosion everywhere. Now when I was doing this, like I said, I felt it was sticky. And so this is just a plastic peel. Just try and pull this off. Well, I don't know if this display is still any good, but look at the state of that, alright? On the display, it'll probably clean off, but yeah. I don't know if that display's alright. It might be, might not. But there's corrosion everywhere. I don't know if I can even salvage this thing, but I thought I'd do a video just having a look. Under there isn't looking too bad. But there is definitely a little bit of corrosion under there. But most of it is in this area here. You can see how bad this bit is. Yeah. Gives you an idea. Look at the side of that chip. This is the bit that makes you think I may not be able to recover it. I mean, this is given to me as a parts unit, right? So I'm going to basically do this as a project to see if I can fix it. The reason I'm wearing the gloves, like I said, is because it's sticky. This particular timer is used in dog sports. The person who owns this has a dog. And I came to the conclusion after I've been handling this before that the reason it's sticky is because the dog has peed on it. That's why the corrosion is so bad. It's had dog pee on it and it's just made everything disgusting. So I wanted to get the video done, this part, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and literally wash it. I'm going to stick it underneath a tap and wash it. I've got brand new displays. I've got these new displays. Everything else has already been covered in God knows what. Well, we do know what, but you know. The button, I don't have any of those, but it might be okay anyway. I don't know. It looks alright, but most of it seems to be the circuit boards that's hit the damage there. Most of it's got that. I've got buzzers, so if that is actually dead, I can replace that. That's not an issue. There's lots of bits on here which may or may not be repairable, mainly that chip. I might be able to get replacement chips. I might be able to get one for it. They are programmed, but I might be able to get one, you never know. I'm hoping I can just like take the thing off the board, clean it all up, and put it back on again. Like I said, this needs washing, so I'm going to go and stick this underneath the tap, get the worst of this off, and then I'll probably have to do that a couple of times as I'm dismantling it, and give it a good scrub, maybe some disinfectant too. Yeah. Eek. So it's been washed and disinfected. Now I'm going to chuck it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Before I do that, I'm going to take this LCD display off, because I want it to get really activated inside these connections here for the LCD. I don't want those to be missed. So you can see it's still wet, still water coming off it, but at least now it's to the point where I don't mind touching it anymore. So it's already looking a lot better. Around the chip's still a big issue. You can see the difference there. It's already looking a lot better. Those tracks are looking better than I thought they were going to be. These can be hard to get out. I like to try and be quite gentle with it if I can, and I found this technique works quite well. There's tweezers on the side, there's ankle tweezers, and I just lever it up gently each side. And then the same this side, but this side's a bit harder because of the shape of it. So I have to sort of go in a couple of places instead. It's a bit harder. I mean, this display might actually still work, which is why I'm trying to be careful not to destroy it. Because these displays are, I think they're about $20 each or something like that, I think it was. I can't remember now, maybe it's more than that. That's why I'm trying to not destroy the thing whilst trying to get it out. Okay, that's the display out. Let's go and put that in the ultrasonic cleaner. Now still a good look at this chip actually before we do that. That chip there, it looks perfectly fine actually. That area is actually looking really good. But there was some corrosion down here. See these pins here? They're not looking so good. Worst case, I can replace that header. It's not that big a deal. I think it's recoverable. And obviously that's the main issue, is that. So that's it after the ultrasonic clean. I've just been drying it a little bit, it's still a bit wet. It's still got a bit more to go. You can see a lot of the solder resist is flaked away, but that's because it's got corrosion underneath it. So it coming off is actually a good thing, because it means it's showing where the problems are. We've got some over here as well, which is flaked off. These little traces like this, I mean, if they're not too bad, you can just literally just run a soldering iron over them and they'll come back. You know, just tin them basically, and it will be good enough. Sometimes you have to repair them. I've done other ones before where these traces here have actually been eaten away by water. I've had to rebuild them. You know, it's not that big a deal. Obviously the issue is still this chip here, but you can also see just down here by this voltage regulator, the trace is actually eaten away just there. So obviously it looks like it's been powered up whilst it's had the liquid in there, and it's accelerated the corrosion area, which is why it's particularly bad just there. So that also means there's a problem, which it may have damaged that chip. I mean, this chip is looking really bad. This is a real low probability of repair. Low probability. I'm hitting this with hot air to try and clean it up, but you can see all this stuff's all cleaned up quite nice in there. These pins are still looking a little bit dodgy, but they're not too bad. These are the worst ones. And if you look at the actual display here, you can see that these legs are a bit corroded here, where those were in those pins. So some are, you know, there's only a few of them that side, and a few this side here. So it isn't that bad. Yeah, this gives an indication what's going on. And that chip's got a little bit of corrosion just there, it's nothing much. So this display's got to come out anyway, because it's guaranteed that's going to be no good, right? But I've got these displays, they're cheap, they're not expensive. So I could just take this display out, clean up underneath it as well. We'll reflow the solder on this chip here, and then that one there, clean up corrosion up there, pop a new display into it, pop a new display into this, repair the damage around this area. Obviously this is the main problem I've got really is here, is what are these traces like by this chip. I mean, taking that chip off, cleaning it up and putting it back down again, it may work, it may not. This is really just done as an experiment to see if I can even fix it. I mean, it may not even work. Obviously those traces going underneath that display are probably going to be bad as well. Underneath the display, it's quite likely to look just as bad underneath it. The back of the board, I haven't looked at that yet, have we? That's not looking too bad. That's cleaned up quite nicely, see? So it's not too bad at all. Even the bit which is looking quite ugly up here is actually not looking too bad. So it's actually looking like it's coming back. It might be salvageable. Find out at the end of the video. So I've been cleaning up some of the solder joints. Next thing I need to do now is take this chip off and start sorting that out. I've done various componentry around here, done the voltage regulator here, but that's a bit of a mess. I might need to actually put some little wire links in there and tie it up some more. Right now it's kind of joined together, but the pads were lifting there and things like that, so I did actually lift that regulator off and put it back down again. We're still going to go through and do reverse traces and what have you. The next thing is that chip, because if these traces around this chip are just completely gone, that could be a real issue. And it's also very fine pitch, so trying to fix that would be very hard and probably not really worth it. Let's get the fume extractor going, because I'm going to need it for the heating. I'm going to stick some fresh flux on this once I figure out where to put it. And hopefully, well, what I'm actually going to do is I'll put some fresh solder around it as well, and then I'll use the hot air to get it off, and the fresh solder will help pickle it basically and help to make it easy to get it off the board. Also not worry about bridges and stuff like that. I just want to get this solder mixed in with the other damaged solder, because it's all corroded and damaged, makes it a bit more stubborn and a bit less pleasant to deal with. Doesn't really want to flow and that sort of thing. So that's why I'm trying to do it this way. Let's see if I can get it to actually bond. It's not looking like it's going to. It really isn't looking like it's going to work like that. It's very reluctant to take the solder, so that isn't surprising. Once you get this sort of level of corrosion, sometimes it just doesn't work. I'm hoping that some of it will at least pickle and help it a little bit. Basically, I'm trying to mix the lead free with the leaded, and this makes it to lower desoldering point as well, lower melting point, so make it easy to get it off. There's no guarantees it's going to do anything. It could still come off perfectly well just with hot air, but this will increase my chances of doing it without ripping traces off. Because these traces that are here are likely very, very fragile. 400 at 40. So here we go with this. Unfortunately, I'm in the way of the camera. I might increase the airflow a bit. What I think I'm going to do is slide it towards me. Because there's nothing in the way there to get knocked off. Well, towards me I mean sideways to the left. Really I should be probably putting a bigger nozzle tip on this, so I can heat a larger area at once. Let's crank it up some more. This is not going anywhere. There we go. Just don't forget which way up the markings are. It's readable from this direction. Now that chip may be fried anyway, got no idea. But let's just start off with cleaning these pads up. I've used a lot of flux on this board, it's very, very messy right now. Then I'll put some fresh flux on there and try and flow some solder over it. And see if I can bring these pads back. Let's run the iron over this. Now, what temperature is it set to? I think I'm going to drop the temperature down a bit. Reduce the chance of boiling pads off. Set to 330 now. And hopefully we can get this to come back. You can actually see on the camera better than I can, so hopefully we're lucky. sure. Okay, I think I'm going to stick some fresh flux on this actually. Well, those ones are looking okay. There's one pad just there, not sure about, just there. Looks dull to me. It might be gone. Yeah. The pad there might be gone. I don't think it's even used though. There's two pads there which I'm not happy with. I'm thinking I might go a bit hotter with this. This is not flowing on the board like it should. This is a very small tip after all.
Meow, meow, meow. I'm not going in there yet. Right, y'all ready? You got distracted again.
I was waiting and I'm recording video.
Go up there. Come on.
Yeah, somebody's just definitely not happy. This is not looking great. Okay, next side. Yeah, these pads are looking quite bad. Is it fixable? Well, maybe. I mean, all these ones here got connections on, but I mean it could be repaired with little wire jumpers, but that's a lot of work. Some of these pads are coming back, some of them really aren't. I'll have to clean up again and reassess the ones which are coming back versus the ones which aren't. So if the pads aren't even used, it doesn't matter if they're lifted and gone or corroded away. But obviously there are ones which are used, those can be problematic. Well, I reckon it's recoverable. See a couple of tricky ones there. I think I'll use my fiberglass brush in. So clean this up, use my fiberglass brush rather than the solder braid. No, I'll do the braid first. We'll see how we go with that. I'll use the braid to try and get the worst of the solder off. Then I'll use the brush to try and clean up what's left of the pads. And hopefully we can get something which works between the two. Because sometimes even just using the solder braid is enough to scrape the pads clean enough. It's one of these things that's very easy to also go too far with it and damage it. Well, I think it's working. I think that's done a reasonable job there. Clean it again. I decided to start doing this on the basis of I'm not expecting it to fix it. I mean, it may be I can get it working. I thought there's no harm in giving it a go, because if I can't fix it, I can't fix it, nothing's been lost. If I can fix it, then I've got a working one again. So a lot of it has come back. It's actually doing quite well there actually. That's not looking too bad. So I think I'm going to hit that with a fiberglass brush. And you see there's a couple of traces like underneath here, snakes around. So I want to get a good shot of this so I can reference it. Different angles. Hopefully I can see clearly later on what's going on. an awful lot of damage around. Fiberglass this whole area and just try and tin the whole thing. So right now I'm going around scraping these traces up, because once you get corrosion underneath these traces you have to take the solder mask off. Otherwise I'll just keep on creeping along underneath the solder mask, eating away the traces even after you've gone and done all this work on it. Wherever there's traces which have been affected by this, some aren't too bad, but there are some which are like this, where the solder mask started scraping off. Then if it started lifting naturally, that means it's actually got corrosion underneath there anyway. So this has to come off. So it's a bit of a tedious process, but if you want to fix it properly, this is something you need to do. Alright, so I'm just under here with a rather blunt, cheap scalpel, but it's enough to get the solder mask scraped off to try and get all of this out of here. Especially if you get like junctions on the wires like this, you have to make sure that that little edge of that ring right there isn't got a break in it, like this one might have. Right, because you can get like the edge of the pad which was exposed may not actually have been protected too well from the corrosion. So like just there I'm suspicious that it's actually not attached. Right there. So this sort of thing you got to watch out for when you're doing this. And it could be fine. I'm just going to try and scrape it, and then do solder there. It could just be solder edge. Yeah, okay, I think that's okay. But it's sort of thing you got to watch out for. And you see all these ones here, these have all been affected as well, so all of these got to go as well. Yeah, it's just one of these things you got to do. See, it's just flaking off quite easily in some places. That's because the corrosion's underneath it. And even on the wires as well, it's got corrosion in the wires. Give them a gentle scrape. But yeah, it's just one of these things you've got to do. Just tedious, frustrating, but is it going to work? I don't know. We'll find out. But if you can scratch out the clean copper and then just run some solder over it to tin it so it's protected again, that might be all you need to do. Even if it's a small crack, if there are small breaks, the solder will usually bridge them. You don't have to resort to doing wires and every single piece of trace which has been damaged like this. Sometimes you have to, depends how bad the corrosion is. But anyway, this is what I'm doing right now. I'll be doing this for some time. So here's the board there. I've scratched that part up. I've started coming across now. I found some breaks in the traces across here. I've removed the screen to see what's underneath that, and we've got some issues here and just there. So that area there is going to need a bit of cleaning up as well. But I think this is salvageable. Obviously I've still got to finish this, so I've got to tidy this up a lot more, put some wire links across, stuff like that. And I'm probably going to have to take this button off and see what's going underneath these tracks under here, because there's a good chance there's an issue underneath that button, because it would have got trapped underneath it. So I've got to take the button off either way to find out. But you can see I've been scraping all that back and it's all nice and shiny now. I've got a pad missing over here. That first pin there, that will need rebuilding up. I think the rest of it's actually not looking too bad in the area. The bit I was really worried about isn't looking that bad. These are expected to be problematic. I've got a couple of breaks in like this corner there, there's a break there, there's a break there, and there's breaks across here. So, and I expect there's going to be some breaks under there too. So I removed that header completely, which was holding the display on, well, the small display. And as you can see, now I've cleaned it up, a lot of these traces have been eaten away. So this one's a big job to rebuild all this bit. That is definitely going to be awkward. Wherever you see the dark green, there is no track anymore. So I have to rebuild all of them. The fact that it's actually good down here and bad here means it's probably not worth rebuilding all of this. What I might have to do is get some fine wires and come off earlier on. I mean, I've got this damage over here as well. A bit of damage there too, which could be problematic. Some of those might have gaps in, look like they probably do. I'm actually wondering if I should just run wires from over here, trace the tracks back, and run wires straight over onto the header when I remount the header. Mount them straight onto the pins of the header. And there's the regulator just there, which is looking pretty bad. That middle pin, the trace there, is actually lifting. So there's actually a break between the tab here, that tab there, and that pin is supposed to be connected, and there's actually a break in it. but the wires go through the board to that centre pin. So I'm probably going to have to put like a wire link between those. It may not even matter. That's bodged on there. There's actually a break on the track there, and there's a break on the track over here as well. So I actually need to put wire links in those so I can tidy those up and get it all looking nice again. But yeah, where did that come from? There's a capacitor sitting there. I had to find where that came from. Where did it come from? That's weird. A random capacitor sitting here. Let's put that on one side. Let me inspect. Where's that come from? That's a really good question. Where does that come from? Did it come off the display board when I was dismantling this? See how bad this display board is. Look. I mean, that's a R5. It's not a resistor. Let's flip over. Oh, it's a resistor. Okay, it's a resistor. So that'll be off this display board then. This would have come from here. That's where that came from. Mystery solved. And the note for the connection is underneath the switch. That's how they run. Try and see how they all sit. There you go, that might show it quite well, like that. That shows it very well in fact. Right, so now I'm just soldering the chip back on again. I've already done one side. Done that side already. Just doing it by hand with a soldering iron. And now I'm going to do this side. And the first side I actually did under a magnifier. This one I'm going to do it under a microscope so you can see it as well. But we'll see how we go. Basically what I'm trying to do is push the legs down and make sure they're definitely on the pads. And then get solder to flow in as well. And as you can see, they're looking way better than they were before when I did the initial inspection with all the corrosion there. So it's not looking too bad. I'm going to touch more solder. Some of these pins have been quite resistant to taking solder for obvious reasons. So taking a bit more effort to get those ones to take. Well, that's the chip on. As you can see, it's soldered in. It's actually not looking too bad. I think it will probably survive. Now that pin which had the pad missing, I managed to bend that one outwards slightly so it's touching the pad, well, the trace that led into that pad, so that's intact again. I'm going to clean up this area here, put some wire links onto these, tidy that up. I've been running tinning through here, but there's lots of gaps in these traces. So you can see there's gaps here and there, and there's another one down there. So I'm not quite sure we're going to put the wire links on yet. I might end up running down from over here, where we've got some more spacing. Then run them through here as required, attach up here, and attach maybe directly into these holes. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, because as you can see that bit there's a real mess. Yeah, they're basically all gone, so I don't really want to be shoving wires through these holes, because then I might have issues when I actually feed a header into there and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to do that. I might actually put a header in there, then maybe wire wrap around the pin, and then solder onto the pin. I might be able to do that. That could be an option. So I've now started rebuilding traces. I've done these 4 here. Got some little wire links there, using some magnet wire, really fine stuff, scraping the enamel off, and then basically rebuilding the traces. And I've also had to do some over here as well, just in there. So I'm just going to clean those up a bit, get some IPA on those, and then I will, at least on this end, I will tack those down with a bit of solder mask to secure them and protect them. Some of these are actually okay. I think there's only 2 or 3 here which have actually got breaks in them now. So I'll look and see where I go right from here down this end, or just bridge across this bit. I prefer to bridge across here than bridge across here. I have 2 lots of bridges like I've done for that other one. It's just this connector here which is the tricky bit. But anyway, you get the idea. Fiddly fine work. And here's the wire I'm using. You see it? Yeah,